You are listening to the Cellular Alchemist podcast, and here's your host, Ritu Malhotra.
Follow your bliss. Some of you may have heard of Joseph Campbell. He was a mythologist, and my fascination with Joseph Campbell has been there almost since I started to really learn, which was way after I left school and formal learning. It was when I realized that all learning is essentially an adventure in self-study. Campbell saw the greatest human failing as the sin of not being alert, not being awake. Just put it in a few words, his philosophy on life quite simply states, follow your bliss. I love Campbell because his insights are enormously elegant. He recognized the root of our existential dissatisfaction. He says if you follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while, just waiting for you. What he means is to live in a space that is creative and self-reflective. He called it the sacred space. A place we all want to ground ourselves in. Campbell further goes on and he wants to clarify this sacred space as being an absolute necessity for anybody today. Which he means by saying that you must have a room or a certain hour or so a day where you don't know what was in the newspapers that morning, you don't know what your friends are doing, you don't know what someone owes you or vice versa. This is a space where you simply experience and bring forth what you are and what you might be. A place of creative incubation. At first you may find that nothing happens. But if you have a little patience and trust, of course, something eventually happens. I think our life has become so economic and practical in its orientation that as you get older, the claims of the moment upon you are so great, you hardly know where the hell you are and what it is that you even intended. You're always doing something that is required of you. So where is your bliss? You must attempt to find it. Often we lose our way on this path to finding what we love most. Because of society's limiting notions of success, maybe. And this could also pressure us in an unimaginative but fail-safe pursuits. Like you must have a job, you must have security, you must do whatever is expected of you. In Sanskrit, there are 3 terms that we could say represent the brink from where you transcend into that bliss. Sat, Chit, Anand. Sat means truth or true being. Chit means consciousness. And Anand means bliss or rapture. So essentially, when we express the courage to follow our bliss, we put ourselves on a path that attracts towards us situations and people who are in the same field. Campbell so encourages us to follow your bliss and don't be afraid. Then doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be. This adventure is its own reward, not your parents' way or anyone else's that will give you those ready-made answers that you might be looking for. When we keenly watch for it, life gives us experiences all the time. A little intuition of where the rapture is That is what life shows us. Give it a chance. And when it happens, grab it. No one can tell you what it's going to be. You have to learn to recognize it and live it for yourself. And so it is. Let's talk again soon.
That was this week's episode for the Cellular Alchemist podcast with spiritual psychologist Ritu Malhotra. Don't forget to follow the podcast and join us next week for yet another episode. Thank you for listening.